Hello everyone, and welcome to another video presentation by the University of North Texas Physics Department, courtesy of the Physics Demo Room. Today we're going to be talking about is energy, and really the conversion between potential energy to kinetic energy. Now this only talks about our mechanical energy. This doesn't talk about chemical energy or elastic energy at all. So with mechanical energy, we have that the kinetic energy and potential energy initially of a situation has to equal the kinetic energy and the potential energy of the final situation. This can be in collisions, or it can just be in an object moving. Now, a lot of times when you are experiencing this, you might actually see that energy is not conserved. Well, this is due to an outside force, and usually it results in that the work is equal to the change in our potential, in our change in our energy, and that's usually done by a force such as friction over some distance in that direction in which the force is being applied. But we're going to assume in this case that air resistance is not going to be accounted for. So what I have in front of me is I have this track that these two endpoints are at the same height. But as you can see, the path at which to get to these two heights is different. So now I propose that since these are at the same height, using the conservation of energy, that if I start here and I let this ball go with its initial potential energy, it's allowed to roll down, get to the bottom, and only have kinetic energy. And with that kinetic energy, it's able to roll up, even though it's at a shorter path, in terms of the x direction, but the same y, that it should get relatively close to the same height at which it started. And by this, through the rule of conservation of energy, I can switch which spot I start first. So now do the experiment. I'm going to start here. As you can see, the first time it got relatively close to the original starting point. So let's do that one more time. Watch the ball. It got relatively close, probably within a diameter to a radius away of the ball itself. Now that's where we did not take friction into account, because we can also take a little bit of friction with this track right here, because it's maybe not perfectly smooth. Maybe if I took like some vegetable oil, I rubbed it down on this track, it might actually help it. But I'm not going to do that today. So now to do something similar, we'll start over here. So I'm going to guess that the ball should get to about where my finger is, and I'm not going to move it. I got a little bit shy of that. And as you can see, we can see the energy loss of the system because the ball is not getting up as high as it initially was. And after some point, it's going to hit its inflection point, which is going to be at the bottom here of that transfer of energy from going completely kinetic to potential energy. And at point, with the energy loss each successive time, it's just going to stay at its resting point here at the bottom. So now this is one good use of conservation of energy. So that way you can say, well, if I'm up here and I start and I don't add any extra forces to the system, my maximum point I can get is the same height over here. It doesn't matter what the path it travels. So now that we actually have that idea, let me pull up a different demonstration. And we call this demonstration Loop the Loop. And this is kind of very similar to a lot of theme parks, or the possibility of anyone that watches Nitro Circuits and likes to see people do jumps and crazy tricks. So we just talked about with conservation of energy, that if I start at a certain height and I'm at rest, that energy, if I go through a track without any resistance, I can't get above the same energy point with respect to where I started. So in that case then, with what you're looking at right in front of you, with this loop-to-loop apparatus, which is just a long pipe with one loop around and an exit pipe that a ball can travel on, or an exit track, that if I was to start with the track that is at a lower height then the opposite side, my hypothesis is, and by the laws of conservation of energy, this ball should not be able to leave that track and be shot like a projectile. It barely even made the loop. It didn't even make it. As we can see here, it got almost halfway. That's because we also had another chance with the energy going on. We went from purely translational energy and potential energy to now this ball moving about an axis, giving it rotational energy as well, that it can go about a rotational axis. So now with this object, that's why we weren't able to go through the loop, because we didn't give it extra energy. We didn't have the necessary energy for it. So now if I was to do the same thing, I would say, well, from this top end, I should be able to go and successfully loop the loop and shoot the ball out. Which it did. This is because we had adequate energy that when it got converted was able to overcome the centripetal force of wanting that object to where the speed at which did not have it be pulled down and was still able to keep in contact with the track. That did not happen before with this. So that is our video presentation of conservation of energy, and also with applying it to tracks and how we can make and establish a loop-the-loop apparatus. Thank you and have a nice day.